first place in both of my other leagues, and this one I'm in second place. Yeah, I mean, you're ahead of me, Fish.
I really don't care. I'm waiting till the end of the season.
As you should.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to remember, I'm the champion. Yeah, as you remember, I'm the champion.
Yeah,
so,
and one guy say he's about to get on that winning streak, and he get any time right now. So that's what I'm waiting for.
Well, my record, I was 3-2 this week, so I'm kind of happy about that. I played Zombie Squirrels. He dropped me to 1-5, so I should be on the hot seat. What y'all was talking about earlier, I should be on the hot seat. Thank you for the Tennessee Titans for giving me a W by 1 Monday night. So I appreciate that.
You need to thank the Jaguars offense for that one. They look terrible, but man, I did pretty good in my weekend. I lost 3-1. I lost to my cousin, so I don't think I'm going to Thanksgiving this year. But I mean, it's usual. Keep it winning, keep it going. I mean, we got a whole season to go with my league, so that's how I view it. You know what? I don't even want to get into the fantasy too deep.
Quick thing, I want to get a little plug. Justin Watson, I want to give a plug to the new Twitch show. If you want to listen to the show, it's on Tuesdays, 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, www.volta.com.
Volta Radio, man.
It's Volta Radio.
Nobody's going to listen after
it's
that.
It's Volta, though.
It's Volta Radio.
You want to chime in on those Silver Ray, or you drain? You drain for the fantasy football?
Nah, I'm good, man. Fantasy is exactly what it is, a fantasy. And I take it serious.
That's from a loser, everyone. No, take everything serious in life. If you're not number one, if you're not first, you're last. So always shoot for the stars. So take everything serious, little kids out there that listen to the Urban Sports.
Yeah, man.
You got to be a good guy or a bad guy.
He watched too much
always
Roscoe.
thinking of bad guys.
He watched too much Roscoe Jenkins.
No.
He running to the finish line. You trying to be Clyde, dog? It's not that serious, dog.
Hey, come on, Star. Can we get to the?
Yeah, it's from a loser. It's from a loser. Don't listen. But how you think?
The recap.
I mean, how'd you even do in your leagues then?
I did pretty good, 2-2, man.
As usual, still a loser. Still barely even cracking 500. So
how's that barely? That is 500 on that.
You the only Bama I know got a tie.
Bama means person. Excuse me.
In our league, Ron has a tie. Do you know?
You had a tie with someone. How can you get ties? I mean, what's up with that?
It's fantasy football, Jeff.
Thank you, Ray. But who you guys looking out for this week in fantasy? I mean,
let's recap our picks though, right, from last week. Our fantasy picks though.
What, our sleepers and everyone we look out for?
I wasn't here last week, so I mean, if I was here last week, the one guy who I did pick up in my other leagues and I played was Deion Branch.
Okay,
I thought that he was going to come in and be very effective in New England's offense. And if I had to pick another player, he's going to show up again this week. And also another player that I'll say is a sleeper for this week is Chris Ivey, the running back for the New Orleans Saints.
That's a good one. I know in terms of my recap, I said that to play Randy Moss. That was average, but I said to sit LaShawn McCoy. That was more to my favor. That's more because the Eagles decided to pass the ball more than run anyway.
Hey, Will, who the Saints play?
They got Cleveland.
Okay, I thought they had a bye.
So
supposed to let him answer because he said Ivory. I want to see why he wanted.
Yeah, Cleveland because they play.
Pierre Thomas coming back this week, but
nah, I don't think.
Good. I won't disagree with your pick though.
Okay, nah, I don't think he's coming back. But
I said earlier, look out for Devon Best. I said that last week. He scored a touchdown. He only had like 30 yards receiving, so I'm gonna stick with that. And then that's it. I'm hanging up the jersey after this.
All right, what about, like
so
you said?
I said that sit Deshaun Jackson, even though he got his points off non-throwing catches pretty much. But, I mean, Jeremy Maclin had a big game off of Deshaun Jackson getting knocked out. So, but I'm going to still say sit Deshaun Jackson. I think Jeremy Maclin is the bigger threat right now for the Eagles because he has the chemistry he has with Cobb.
In terms of this week, I mean, I would start T.O. or Chad Johnson only because Dante Robinson's out.
He's not out for sure yet.
But he had that concussion. No, they pretty much ruled him out. What I heard, they ruled him out. That's the only reason why I was playing. ESPN.com.
Oh.
Well, my other sleeper was is the 49ers defense. They're playing Carolina, and I don't even know who they even want to suit up at quarterback. So, okay. But anybody you guys think you might want to bench or anything like that? Anybody that jump out there?
If I had to have one player to bench this week, I'm probably going to go. Even though I'm an Eagles fan, I'm gonna have to go with bench Cobb just because of the way the Tennessee Titans passing defense is. They've been playing spectacular the past couple of weeks, so I'm going to say bench Cobb. He'll be a good play, but he won't be a very strong play this week.
I would say, what's going on out there?
Somebody must agree with that.
I would say bench.
Drumline.
I would bench.
P1 it is.
I would bench Brandon Lloyd because he's going against Asamoah. Since he's the number one wide receiver, he's going against the number one cornerback.
Let's see how Brandon Lloyd does. Let's write that down. Me personally, I say bench Chad Henne because he's going against Pittsburgh's defense. I think if Miami's gonna find a way to win, it's not gonna be with Chad Henne. So I would say bench Chad Henne.
Anybody, like any sleepers, anything like that from anybody?
Well, I mentioned 49ers defense because they're playing Carolina.
I'm gonna say St. Louis defense. Their pass rush looked much better this week.
One sleeper I will say
And
is
Skinsdy.
Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch, the first game he played with Seattle, he's clearly established himself as number one back. So I think from this point on, he'll take the majority of the carries. He's shown that he's durable in the past, so I would say Marshawn Lynch.
I'd say Mike Williams for the Seattle Seahawks, only because he's playing against Arizona secondary, and if you look at the averages in terms of how Arizona secondary has played on the road, they've in terms of Antonio Gates, Roddy White, Mark Clayton, all average about 114 in terms of average between the three of them, and they all, I think, average about a touchdown. So I would choose Mike Williams.
Well, that's how fantasy's looking for us this year. Well, not this year, for this episode. But we got to hop into a commercial break. When we get back, we'll be talking about college football.
Duty, freedom, country, family. They're the values that make America strong and what our armed forces are fighting to defend. While many talk about these ideals without action, they are just empty words. If you think America's military families deserve more, log on to ThanksUSA.org. It's a great way to thank our troops and give military families the gift of education. ThanksUSA.org. Scholarships for America's military families. You can make a difference.
I need everybody to report to the dance floor right now. The world is very different now.
Welcome back to the Urban Sports Scene. We about to hop into that college football. Before we talk about that, we about to talk about our good old folks at Applegee's, our cousins down in Texas. Let them folks know how to reach them, Wally.
You can reach them at www.blogtalkradio.com/Applegees. You spell it APOGEEZS. Every Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
Tune in because make sure you can hear very insightful college football analysis from myself and Fish.
Twitter.com/Applegees too. APOGEEZS.
But speaking of college football, the BCS standings came out. I mean, right now they got Oklahoma is like number one. I mean, what you guys think about that?
That is the oddest decision that I can think of. How exactly who has Oklahoma beat except for Florida State? And Texas isn't what they has shown that clearly they aren't what they used to be. So I don't really think that Oklahoma
It doesn't even matter.
deserves the number one spot. If I personally had a vote, I would have to say number one would be Oregon and number two would be Boise State.
I mean, you know what? To me, it doesn't even matter. I think you'll see TCU or Boise State in the national championship game. Oklahoma will probably lose to Missouri or even Oklahoma State, both road games. You have Oregon, who I can see losing to USC at USC, because I mean I just think that they'll choke. They've done it before with Dennis Dixon, so I can see them doing it.
Well, I know Sam Bradford is happy. That's why he got the Bobby Boucher coming back. He got the park going and everything. But Oklahoma, I believe they're number one because Texas beat Nebraska. And the way the computers see it, Nebraska was ranked number 5. They shouldn't have been. But that's how the computers look at it. So it looks as if they beat a good Texas team and a good ranked Florida State team. So that's why they're number one in the BCS. Oregon, while they did beat Stanford and the other was Illinois, they don't really have the same amount of wins. The same amount of wins according to the computers as Oklahoma does. So.
Man, to me, the BCS is what it is, some B and some S. I mean, to me, the computer can't determine how good a team is. I mean, they need to play on the field or in the playoff or really see them in person. I mean, how's a computer going to determine how good a team really is off a fake schedule like Boise plays? And I don't know how they got up there. And Oklahoma hasn't really played anyone because Texas isn't to the caliber they usually are. But we're going to talk about what our Applegees, what we covered in, what we talked about in our Applegees segment from last week. What picks you think you're going to be looking for this week? We had Oklahoma playing Missouri, so, I mean, which way were you going in that pick?
With that pick, I believe I went with Oklahoma, if I'm not mistaken. I think Oklahoma pull off the victory against Missouri. Oklahoma.
Were you going to go Oklahoma also,
I
Wally?
said Missouri. I'm not backtracking.
Yeah, I have the upset going Oklahoma. I mean, Missouri beating Oklahoma. I think that once Oklahoma always comes out when they're number one, they always find a way to choke. So.
Well, they're just not that strong of a team, honestly.
But we had various games we were talking about in our Applegees segment. I think the other game was where we going with Michigan State, and who are they playing this week? I think they're playing Northwestern. Me personally, I had an upset going with Northwestern. I think Pat Sullivan's team can pretty
What's
sure.
Northwestern's record this year? They good?
They're pretty good. They won some games.
Well,
he lost
Where's
by
the, where's the
one
game
game.
at? It's in
It's
Northwestern?
in Northwestern.
Oh. I'll go Michigan State. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, only on this regard.
I still think Michigan State pulls this one out.
But another game they were talking about is the Wisconsin and Iowa, which is a big game in the Big
Iowa
Ten.
got that one.
I had Iowa pretty much taking that game. I mean, Iowa comes up to play. They're a physical team. They always ready to hit somebody in the mouth. You know, Wisconsin is also a physical team. I think from them having that high of beating Ohio State, I think